Okay, everyone, welcome to our presentation. I do apologize for any of the strange audio hiccups we've been having. My name is Jeff. I'll be your event moderator. Today, we are going to learn about the Master of Science Supply Chain Management at Kettering University Online. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us. We've got a great presentation, so let me go ahead and get us started. First, I'm going to cover a few housekeeping items. This presentation is being recorded for future viewing. Only our panelists are unmuted. Attendees are in listen-only mode. That means you can hear us, but we cannot hear you. If you have any questions, please submit them via the questions box in the GoToWebinar control panel. You may have to click on a small orange arrow near the top panel in order to view the question box. We will address as many of those questions as time allows at the end of the presentation. The recording of the presentation, as well as a PDF of the PowerPoint, will be available shortly after the event. Now I'd like to offer a few introductions. Our featured presenter today is Dr. Michael Smith, Dean of the School of Management and the F. James McDonald Endowed Chair of Supply Chain Management. We'll also hear from our online enrollment advisors, Jonathan Tilkin and Mike Vardalos. Just a quick look at our agenda. Dr. Smith will talk to us today about Kettering University, Supply Chain Management, the Kettering Online program, and close with a look at the salary and career impact. Jonathan will take us through the admissions requirements and what to expect for next steps. And before we close, we'll have a Q&A to address as many of the questions as you've all submitted, or as many as time allows. With that, I'll turn to Dr. Smith to go ahead and get us started.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. As was presented, I'm the Dean of the School of Management and F. James McDonald Endowed Chair in Supply Chain Management. One of the things that makes me excited about this program is that it really is the wave of the future. I started to realize back in the late 80s and early 90s as an executive that we needed managers to think about running organizations as wholes. And a lot of us were trying to accomplish getting people moving in this direction. So they were really looking at how the whole organization worked together to accomplish creating customer value. Well, it became pretty clear to a whole lot of us pretty early on that it needed to go well beyond that, there was really no purpose to organizational strategy without alignment of a network of supporting firms, supporting organizations. If that sounds like supply chain management, indeed, that's what it is. Competition in today's global marketplace is meta-organizational. That is, it's groups of organizations. It's the networks of supporting organizations that compete one against another. So it's really my supply chain against your supply chain today. And so that supply chain management truly is an opportunity to really engage in the modern wave in terms of organizational strategy and to support the effectiveness of your organization. Next slide. So for nearly 100 years, Kettering University has really been preparing that next generation of leaders. And you see this in that there are a lot of our alumni, and we'll address this in more detail just in a moment here, but a lot of our graduates are in the C-suite, in the chief level of organizations. And this, it's really through a very integrated and intense academic curriculum along with professional experience that these people have managed to move, to gain the skills and abilities to go ahead and move forward in their organizations. Kettering was founded in 1919 and is a national leader in experiential science, technology, engineering, and math education. And that experiential piece is really a critical part of this. Of course, all of you are coming to us with experience in hand. Also, we're really seeking to inspire students to realize their potential and advance their ideas when combined with theory so that they can better institutional effectiveness in organizations across the world. Next slide. Okay. Kettering University is fully accredited by the Higher Learning Commission and a member of the North Central Association of Colleges and Schools. Also, our engineering programs are ABET accredited as well, and our management programs are accredited by the Accreditation Council for Business Schools and Programs, ACBSP. We're also a nationally ranked organization, university. We're ranked 19th nationally and #1 in the Midwest and Michigan in return on investment by payscale.com's 2017 college ROI report. We're also among Business Insider's top colleges in America, as shown in on your slide. We're designated a best in the Midwest by Princeton Review, and we're ranked among the best in terms of by U.S. News and World Report, best colleges in the Midwest and best engineering programs as well. Next slide. So why Kettering University Online? This is as I suggested earlier, is a respected university. In fact, with over 30,000 living alumni, approximately 1,000 of those alumni are currently in C-level positions. So by C-level, what I'm referring to is their chief executive officer, chief financial officer, chief operating officer, that level of performance in their organizations. And in fact, we have a number of chief executive officers as alumni. For example, Mary Barra, who is CEO of GM. We've got, so you look at this, the president of Ford North America, the CEO of Johnson & Johnson, the CEO of Gibson Guitar. We just have a lot of folks who are at the top of organizations. This sort of, portrays for you a really unique advantage. About 1 in 30 of our graduates have progressed to that C level. Truly incredible. This is, you enjoy with Kettering Online, competitive tuition rates, and again, at an institution where the return on your investment in tuition is substantial, and that's been well recognized. You'll benefit from dedicated support from your own professional advisor, and that person will be with you throughout your academic career. You have engaging and truly topical and immediate high quality interaction with professors and fellow students in your classes. And indeed, one of the advantages of graduate education is that development of a network of people that we often find that students interact with each other long after the fact, our alumni, that there's a well-developed network of folks. You also experience truly detailed course activities that allow you to really personalize your instruction to your experience, to your industry and your particular organization. And in fact, part of this is that you learn and then you apply what you're learning directly within your current work or life situation. So that immediate application is a key part of this as well. Next slide, please. Okay, so you can see here the list of Kettering University Online programs. So it's not just the Master of Science in Supply Chain Management, but also Master of Business Administration, Master of Science in Engineering Management, Master of Science in Lean Manufacturing, Master of Science in Operations Management. All of these programs, along with the Master of Science in Supply Chain Management, all these programs also offer you the opportunity to obtain a graduate certificate in global leadership, healthcare management, operations management, or supply chain and ERP, enterprise resource planning. So this offers you a really solid range of opportunities, of which the Master of Science in Supply Chain Management is the one we're describing today, and also some additional opportunities to fine-tune your program for your particular needs. Next slide, please. Okay, so why supply chain management? I think that this is something that is often, there's a long history of purchasing and procurement, but supply chain management goes well beyond that because we're really now talking about global supply chains, global networks of organizations working together to produce customer value. And it was really when we started to look at this that we saw that this was no longer at that tactical level, but indeed is truly strategic. And so this requires a much more significant set of skills than was typical of how we perceived this in the past. So it's a unique body of expertise and knowledge. The master's degree in supply management allows you to really connect to creating value in your organizations so that it increases profits and improves stakeholder value in your organization. And when you do that, it helps you really gain credibility and to be taken seriously in your organization. The practices in procurement, logistics, purchasing, inventory management, and issues with compliance and distribution, these are all topics covered within the program. There's a significant gap in the availability of people with the skills and leadership capabilities to really make this work. Again, you're leading not only within an organization, but indeed across organizations. So if it's challenging to lead within an organization, think how much more significant leadership at this greater level really is. And indeed, there's a significant gap in available skilled folks able to step into these leadership supply chain positions in supply chain management. Next slide, please. Okay. The online Master of Science in Supply Chain Management program really allows you to dig into the details that will prepare you to be one of those that can step into that significant gap in terms of people prepared in this realm. Where it looks at traditional approaches to supply chain management, but also prepares you with a look at the trends and skills that are necessary going into the future. So you can truly deliver and evaluate innovative approaches to business scenarios that occur in this information age. So we're stepping this forward. And again, this requires a good deal more preparation. This really puts you at the strategic level so that you learn effective strategies for managing supply chains, as well as the operations that are consumers of those supply chains within these complex networks of organizations and the logistics that connect those organizations together. You gain knowledge of ways to actually manage customer relationships as well, so that you're really looking at what demand management looks like and how to manage those relationships to ensure an effective supply of materials to actually be able to develop products. Also, very often, graduates are involved, increasingly involved in actual product design even, because engaging our supply base in product design is really on the leading edge of things. You'll master purchasing and strategic procurement of products, services, and doing this within the e-commerce realm with a focus on negotiating contracts and managing that supply base. You'll also complete a capstone course that allows you to really put your skills to work in the analysis of the supply chain and to provide insights to ways to streamline the supply chain of your choosing. And in many cases, that's within your current employer. Next slide, please. One of the things that we wanted to, that I really wanted to point out was that increasing your education pays a significant dividend in this realm. And we've got two cases here from the Bureau of Labor Statistics that really provide a beginning to looking at this. The idea that that there's a substantial benefit bonus to a master's degree. And of course, that's what we'd like to see you obtain. So if you look at the idea that the median salary for full-time workers was about $72,000 with a master's degree, that's significantly more than for somebody with a bachelor's degree. Within the supply realm, specifically, logistics professionals saw about $54,000 at the bachelor's level, about $82,000 at the master's level, $20,000 a year benefit for obtaining a master's degree. Similarly, that same kind of difference was noted in transportation and storage and distribution managers. I'd like to point out that this is also true for data obtained by the Institute for Supply Management, which found a median salary of approximately $96,000, mean salary of $115,000, but once again, about a $30,000 bonus for a master's degree. So we're seeing this portrayed throughout the supply management realm. This profession is one with truly outstanding salaries, but also that where there's a real advantage to obtaining the master's degree. Next slide, please. Okay, so the key here is that you're paid well because you can make a difference in your organizations. So effective supply chain managers are really able to strategically engage in the procurement of services, materials, products, and e-commerce solutions. They can negotiate contracts very effectively with suppliers and distributors. They can implement effective strategies for engaging, for streamlining the operations in this network of organizations and maximize customer value through eliminating waste and aligning the endeavors of this meta organization. So truly, this is something that occurs in the global realm. I'd also like to point out that there's a range of typical titles available today, from senior manager, international supply chain strategy, director of supply chain projects and business excellence. These are real titles that people have. Supply chain manager, supply chain management specialist, logistics planner, inventory management specialist, principal acquisition specialist, and supply chain quality manager. One of the things that's interesting here is that because executives, as chief financial officers, chief executive officers, boards of directors, and investors are seeing the value that these people bring to their organizations, we're increasingly also seeing this as a substantial path to that C-suite. And in fact, increasingly, folks with these titles, as I've read out here, are moving into the chief executive role in organizations. And this is something that's just recently been occurring as increasingly supply managers and supply management professionals have a critical role in organizational effectiveness. Next slide, please. And at this point, I'll turn it back over to Jeff.
Thank you very much, Dr. Smith. I really appreciate the time. That was a great presentation. What we're going to do now is we're going to turn this portion of the talk over to Jonathan. He's going to talk to us a little bit about the admissions requirements, what next steps are required if you'd like to submit your application, as well as offer some contact information.
Thank you, Jeff and Dr. Smith. So starting off for admission requirements for Kettering University Online, for our domestic students, you will be required to have a 3.0 on a 4.0 grading system, or an overall 85 overall grade point average on a 100 grade point scale. We will have an application online for admission. It is free of cost. Also, we will require all official transcripts from a regionally accredited U.S. university and an international equivalent. So any schools you've attended, we will require those transcripts. For international students, submission of educational documentation to an evaluation service such as WES or ECE is another one we'd like to use, so they can evaluate for U.S. equivalency. Applicants whose native language is not in English or have not earned a bachelor's degree from a U.S. institution are required to take the test of English as a foreign language, our TOEFL exam, or International English Language Testing System, IELTS, or MELAB is offered by University of Michigan, or a completed level 112 at an approved ELS center. So the minimum score requirements for TOEFL for paper-based are 550, computer-based 213, internet-based 79. IELTS, you need a minimum band score of 6.0 and MELAB 76. So the next steps of the application process would be a phone call with either me, John Tilkin, or Mike Vardalos, one of our enrollment advisors here. Then you would need to complete the application. We will send you an email with this link, which will make it very easy for you to click on the link and fill out the application. And then, of course, we will need all official transcripts sent directly to either Mike or I.
Excellent. Very good, Jonathan. Our closing slide, I'll include the contact information for Jonathan and Mike in case you needed to reach out to either of them. Now what we're going to do here, this is our opportunity for Q&A. Again, I'd like to encourage you, if you have any questions, please type them in the questions box in the GoToWebinar interface and hit send or submit. Got a few here that I'm going to go ahead and field. I think, Jonathan, these may be things that you can help out with a bit. Can you talk about how long it takes to complete the program?
Yes. If you were going to take each class one at a time as suggested, you could be done in about 15 months or so. That is taking each class back to back.
Thank you. And one more time, how many classes was that at one time?
You take one class at a time, so depending on the program,
Okay.
most are 10 courses, however, the MBA is 12. So if you're doing the MBA, that's going to, of course, be a little bit longer, about 1.5 years.
Great, thank you. Is there credit available for training or experience or transfer credits?
Yes, Kettering will take up to 2 transfer credits of a equivalent master's program that aligns with our programs that we have. As far as work experience, that is taken into consideration in your resume. However, we do not take credits for certifications. But with some certain cases, if there's a statistics course, maybe you haven't taken it in college, we'll look at your background, but mainly we take the educational credits.
Very good, thank you. Here's a set here. Again, maybe Jonathan, you can address this as well. It's kind of a tactical classroom thing. Is there any requirement to log on at specific dates or times?
Actually, the only requirement is that you log in at least 3 times a week. Now, it does not matter what day or time because this is all online, so we have people from all over the globe taking the course. So you're not required at any specific time, just 3 times a week in order to finish your assignments and chat boards and reach out to the professor with whatever other questions he has.
Would there be occasional live sessions or group discussions where you might have to log in? for example, at a Tuesday at 7 or something like that?
I'll jump in, Jeff. This is Mike.
Okay.
As far as live sessions, there isn't any live sessions. If there's any lectures, they're recorded and they can be viewed as many times as the student pleases.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yep.
What about textbooks and classroom material? How does that work?
So each class, your professional advisor will let you know if there is a book required. Nowadays, most books are ebooks, electronic books that are offered through our bookstore. If there isn't a book supplied for the class, then there's course materials that will be provided through your classroom by the professor.
Are there any particular IT or technological skills needed to participate in the program?
We do have specifications through our help desk that can be provided by them, and then any additional software that's also provided by the university through our cloud.
All right, very good. Thank you. Let's see what else we have coming in here. Computer specifications, I would imagine those are things like, a reliable internet connection, probably some sort of audio and video requirements. Can you explain a little bit of that?
I'm sorry, Jeff, you cut out. What was the question?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think that we're getting into some very specifics on some of the technological requirements, but I think as long as you have good, reliable internet with high speed and you've got some adequate audio and video hardware and software, then you should be in pretty good shape to participate, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, great. Let's see here. Can you talk a little bit about how the certificate component of the program works? Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yes, there's 4 different certificates that we offer. A certificate in supply chain management and ERP. Global leadership is the second one. Our third one is operations management. And our fourth one is healthcare management. Students can elect to apply to those first. Those 3 classes can be applied to any one of our graduate programs. So taking those 3 classes now can be applied to our Masters of Science in Supply Chain Management, Masters of Science in Lean Manufacturing, MBA, our Masters of Science in Operations Management, and our Masters of Science in Engineering Management.
All right, very good. That looks like the bulk of the questions that have come in, but of course I encourage our attendees to reach out anytime after the event with any questions you may think of later. I'd like to offer Jonathan, Mike, and Dr. Smith, did you have any closing thoughts before I close our event?
No, sir.
No,
Very
we're all
good.
set here.
Excellent. So again, I'd like to thank you all again for your time today. Very special thank you to all of our panelists for their insight. Again, I encourage all of our attendees to reach out via phone, complete the form on the website, which by the way, it looks like it's missing here. Our website, again, in case you've missed it or don't recall, is online.kettering.edu. You can also email either Mike or Jonathan at admissions@online.kettering.edu or by phone at 855-418-0201. We'd love to have the opportunity to follow up with you personally, discuss your career goals and expectations, and how the Kettering Online Master's Program can help you get there. In fact, I suggest that if you would reserved an hour of time for this presentation, it looks like we have a little bit of time left. So why not get on the phone or get on your email and reach out to Jonathan or Mike right now. Once again, thank you everybody for your time, and we hope you have a great afternoon.